students, today we are going to talk about the chapter Magnets. The magnet was discovered by a shepherd named Magnes in the old Greece. So one fine day he took his sheep and goats for grazing. His shoes and the stick he was carrying was having the iron nails and the magnet and the iron casting on it at its end. So he got stuck to the rock where he was actually standing. And this rock was actually called the natural magnet and attracted the iron present in Magnus' shoes and the stick. So this rock was called magnetite, and after the obviously after the name of its discoverer, Magnus. This because of this shepherd boy Magnus and the city of Greece, Magnesia, this magnet got its name. And because this is a lodestone, it, it had some specific properties which we are going to study later on. So basically a magnet is an object, right? And this particular object will attract other objects. This property is very unique and peculiar, and when it was found that this particular substance is attracting other materials, then it was also found out that the materials should be of iron, cobalt or nickel. So magnet is a substance which will attract other objects, right, made up of iron, cobalt and nickel. According to the nature of the materials, the materials were classified as magnetic materials and the non-magnetic materials. You can see through the pictures given in the slide what type of materials are magnetic and what materials are not at all magnetic. They will not be attracted towards a magnet. Going through the pictures, we can easily say a magnetic material will get attracted towards a magnet. See, I have highlighted this word attracted. So that means this is a main important word. You have to understand this. So iron nails, the steel pins that you saw in that picture was all magnetic. Non-magnetic materials like rubber, anything that is made up of rubber, paper, anything, none of the papers will be attracted towards a magnet. You can simply try and do this experiment at home, where you are going to classify just on your study table or in your drawer. Just check out whether the substance is magnetic or non-magnetic. So whatever material will be made up of wood, glass, rubber, your ruler, your pencil box, half things are magnetic and half things are non-magnetic. So it's a simple activity. You can do it by yourself. What objects are made up of are attracted towards a magnet and what objects are not attracted to a magnet. When magnets got the classification, it was basically many books they write for temporary magnets and permanent magnets, but I will take this classification to this basic level, that is natural and the artificial. Because natural magnet is what we got the idea from the Greece. They are basically the black rocks, and these rocks are very brittle and can be easily broken down. They are very irregularly shaped. So when I need certain magnetic things around me, so I need to have certain shape and size as per my need. So natural magnets and the artificial magnets are the two types of magnets. The natural magnets are temporary. Their magnetic properties can be lost easily. They are weak magnets. The strength is not that good, and they are found naturally. So what is basically the nature has given it to us. And the example is magnetite, the one we got from the Magnus, right? Then they are brittle and irregularly shaped. Now, how I have modified it to my needs is artificial magnets. So, man made magnets are strong, they are permanent. They may be permanent, they may be temporary, but basically they are strong. They are made from iron, cobalt, and nickel. And they, very important feature that we must concentrate on was they can be shaped like bar, dumbbell, cylindrical, ring shaped, spherical, whatever the choice of the demand for the shape is, we can draw them into that particular shape. So this is what you have to understand: natural magnets and artificial magnets. C class, when it comes to the shapes of the magnet, check out the shapes we have got. Number one, the bar, the Kit Kat uh, chocolate you might have eaten. So all that slices are bar. The bar magnet, it is shaped somewhat long rectangular. Oval, easily available in markets and your stationery shops. You might have been playing with this oval magnets at home. Ring magnet, as the name suggests, it simply is like a ring in your finger. Cylindrical magnet, horseshoe magnet, needle magnet. You have seen it on. It is fitted on a magnetic compass. Dumbbell shaped is not basically a dumbbell. It is a dumbbell shaped magnet. First of all, focus ourselves on the properties of magnet. The very first property, a magnet has two ends. You can see through the diagram in the ring shape also you will find north and south. In this U-shaped magnet, the north and south. And bar magnet, obviously it is the most commonly used. So in all our experiments, which it is, since it is easily available, we are focusing on this bar magnet. So there are two ends to it, north pole and the south pole. So it is all, we always say it in short form, it is bipolar. In property will be on the strength of the magnet, because a magnet is known for its magnetic powers. These magnetic power, this magnetic influence is always at the corners. The corners are called as poles, right? And these poles, they are showing all the attraction. So at the center you are not going to see a lot of attraction there. So the center may attraction is negligible, and the corners, they have all the strength. See, I have magnified one particular corner also, and you can see huge bunch of iron fillings are attracted towards that particular one corner. जगह नहीं दिख रही है लेकिन सब घुसे हुए एक के ऊपर एक के ऊपर एक, because वो corners पे ही attraction रहेगा. Or this corner is called the poles. That is the first property. The magnet has two poles. So what is the second property? The strength is maximum at the poles. Property is somewhat very simple one. When you break a magnet, bar magnet or any other magnet, into two parts, now both the broken parts will have again its two poles, the north pole and the south pole. So again, if you break that small part, again it is going to make two other more pieces, and you keep on dividing that magnet. The smallest piece will be also having the two poles, because right at the first property we have said that magnets have two poles. So this particular property remains intact. You keep on breaking this magnet. आपने first stick देखो, उसके दो टुकड़े किए, उसके भी दोनों टुकड़ों के नॉर्थ साउथ अपने आप बन गए. फिर आपने उसको टुकड़े किए, फिर वो चार हो गए, उसमें भी नॉर्थ साउथ रहेगा. तो you are never going to separate out these corners. These poles cannot be separated out. So each part will behave like a complete magnet. Property is very important. It is called directive property, as the name suggests, showing the direction, right? The Chinese have found it. In their king's chariots, they used to put this magnet like substance, and always used to point certain direction, and it was north direction. It was later found out that this particular magnet has a special property. When you suspend it freely, either on a stand like this, which is shown on the picture, or you just place it on a cork and just keep it in a water bowl. Whatever you do, whenever it is going to rest, it is going to point towards north, down, south direction, the geographic north and south direction. So this particular property was used by the navigators, by the sailors. When you are making up a magnetic compass, this property was so useful. So dear students, other than the bipolar property, this directive property is also very important. Directive, क्योंकि ये डायरेक्शन बता रहा है. That is why it was called leading stone ना, because वो दिशा दिखा रहा था हमें. तो this is the directive property. Check whether a substance is magnetic or non-magnetic. So attraction is not the basic rule. The basic rule is repulsion. So this repulsion property will prove that your particular substance जो कि अपनी तरफ किसी चीज को खींच रहा है वो magnetic है या नहीं है. The repulsion property is very important. And what we have seen through a lot of experiments, जब हम दो मैग्नेट्स को लेते हैं तो जो नॉर्थ पोल एक मैग्नेट का दूसरे नॉर्थ पोल के मैग्नेट के पास लाने की कोशिश की गई, इट गॉट रिपेल्ड. रिपेल्ड मतलब एक दूसरे से एक फोर्स सा फील होता था और वो इधर उधर हिल जाता था. बट देन when the poles were when one of the bar magnet was turned around, that means one was facing the north towards the south of the other magnet, then they got attracted towards it. So what the property came out of this particular experiment, that like poles repel each other and unlike poles attract each other. And repulsion is the surest test to find out that whether the substance is magnetic or non-magnetic, because attraction you can see it in other areas also, other forces also, like gravitational force. You can see the attraction, things get attracted towards earth. So in electrostatic force you can you can see the attraction there. But this repulsion was a sure test to see whether whether the given substance is a magnet or not. So what you have to remember, like poles repel and unlike poles attract. Uses are there in the for the magnets. A very simple one to classify magnetic substance, iron material scraps made up of iron. They can be separated out. The huge cranes are using to lift heavy objects like containers and cars. To um, this is basically the first very common usage of magnet. The second use, lot of electronic items present at your home, they are having magnets into it. So all the devices like speakers, your fridges, your refrigerators, and the TVs, headphones, they all are having the little or different size of magnets there. The very important thing that you might have seen, your ATM cards are having the strip, magnetic strip also. So this is also one of the, because all the information is stored in this encrypted form. MRI, you have to find out what is MRI. It is magnetic resonance, and basically it is used for the treatment. And whenever you go to any path lab, you will see MRI centers somewhere around your place. You will find that how that MRIs are used to detect your inside tumors or any kind of abnormalities inside your body. It can be just the impression can be taken out. Toys, very commonly you have seen, a lot of cars are there. I have shown a magnetic chessboard. So these are basically having small sized magnets inside. Your fridge articles you have seen, and the maglev train, it is a very common fastest train that is there in Japan and China, everywhere. They have made this train maglev train. So it is magnetic levitation train, right? So lot of uses are there in operation surgeries where some iron splinters are getting into your eyes. Then the surgeons are using magnets to remove those splinters. So you can make down and jot down all the points how the magnets are useful to us. We know a particular substance is having such a unique property, and they are very useful also, so we must keep a good care of them. So 3H you have to avoid. 3H: height, hitting, and hammering, right? Height, heat, and hitting. So you have to avoid these three things. So don't bring them to high temperatures, because then definitely they are going to lose their property. Don't hit them hard with any object like hammer or anything. Don't drop them from the good heights, because whenever the magnet is thrown from a good height, then it loses its property. Now what it comes to, this is what you have to avoid. Now how to keep them, if I have a bad magnet, to how to store it, then also there are certain things to keep in mind. There is a ferromagnetic substance, iron like substance over there. So it acts as a keeper. I have shown it in the picture also. There are two keepers at the corners of the bar magnet. So if I'm placing two bar magnets together, I will try to put an iron block into it, those two magnets. Second thing, check out the poles. The two bar magnets should not be having the same poles on one side. So alternate them with south north, north south. Third thing, your keepers should be there. So three things you have to keep in mind. You can be asked this question, how bar magnets are stored. So your points will be three. Number one, they should be having keepers, magnetic keepers at the corners to protect the properties, because सारी properties तो poles पे है. तो poles पे आप keepers लगा देंगे, जैसे wicket keeper होता है वैसे ही नाम है ये, magnetic keepers है. फिर सेकंड थिंग, दो मैग्नेट्स के बीच में आप वुडन ब्लॉक डाल देंगे. थर्ड थिंग, दोनों बार मैग्नेट के पोल्स एक साथ नहीं होंगे, सेम सेम पोल्स शुड नॉट बी फेसिंग एट वन साइड. So these three things are written. Now, when a magnet loses its property, this is called demagnetization. Opposite of magnetization. Magnetization में you are inducing the properties of magnet. And properties में तो आपको सारे properties याद हो गए. उसको attract करना है. Iron like objects को, they should have two poles. They should show the repulsion test. So demagnetization, when you are losing all these properties, it can be done by heating, hammering, dropping, whatever. So this is demagnetization. This is an experiment now. Make your own magnet. You can have one iron piece and a magnet, and this is single touch magnet. So steps are written. Just take a iron or steel piece, whatever you are having, or a iron nail. You can have that also, and you can make it magnet, right? You can make it magnet by stroking it repeatedly, but your stroking should be fast and it should not be like in a breaks. So stroking in anti-clockwise direction, um, when you are moving from north pole and touching the north pole and then going to south tip of the south, then again just keep stroking it. You can see in the picture the that the double touch method. So here you are going to use two hands and then stroke it again and again. So the greater the number of the strokes, the stronger will be the magnetism. Magnetic compass is a very familiar device which has been used for finding the direction. Now we have the GPS system in our mobiles and the trackers, but basically in earlier times this was the very good solution. Still now it has been used, and this is particularly pointing towards the north direction, and one end of the needle is often marked north. Somewhere you will find the south is also marked, but mostly the n is mentioned in that needle like structure. So it is going to help you to locate where is the north direction. Now you might have known that in earlier times when it was also not discovered, the traders used to travel at night because they had the pole star, because pole star was pointing the north direction. But then later on it was discovered, and this is how this magnetic compass had become the part and parcel of all the navigators. Is all our things. What is a magnet? Materials that attract iron, and they attract the cobalt materials, nickel, etc. They are basically magnetite or lodestone. Fe2O3. Fe stands for iron, O oxygen, so it is an oxide of iron. How many types of magnet? We can clearly see the natural and the artificial. Artificial magnet can be temporary and permanent. Substances can be classified on the basis of their properties: magnetic substances and non-magnetic substances. Attracted towards a magnet, not attracted towards a magnet. So when it comes to properties of magnet, we have highlighted five. You can make it six also. It has two poles. Attraction is maximum at the poles. Poles exist in pairs, so you cannot separate the poles. Like poles repel, unlike poles attract. The directive property, whenever you suspend a bar magnet, it will always point towards align. It aligns itself towards the north-south direction. And the very one more you think property you can add here is that it attracts certain materials. So this is how you can write down the properties. Uses, lot of uses are there. I have just highlighted a few. You go and check out your surroundings. Where else you can see the magnet? The compass, most commonly used. Compass in cranes, trains and TVs, fridges and bells, electric bells are there. Because here we are using the electricity to make a magnet, which you will study in 7th standard, electromagnet. And then MRIs, magnetic therapies are there. I have seen a lot of people going for these magnetic therapies to relieve them from the pain. So a lot of things, you just go and inquire into your surroundings. How you can make a magnet? Yes, definitely single touch method, double touch method. You have to keep on stroking, 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 but then it becomes very tiring also. The very common one is using electricity. Using electricity, we can make an iron object magnetic also.